got an adjustable rear shock for preload only, I think. You get a 400 cc emblem there, although it's actually 399 cc. It's got a sight glass for the oil. It's got, you can check your fluids really easily. You know, it's got that for the, you know, if you can see that, for the, there it is, radiator fluid, coolant. And it has for brakes in the front there, a little sight glass. It's got LED lights in the front for both regular and high beam. They're very bright. They're probably better than my cars. They're very good. It's got a flash to pass, which I think most motorcycles have that. The turn signals are just regular incandescent, but they're pretty bright. I would say the mirrors aren't very good. I mean, they work, obviously a mirror is a mirror, but they're too close together from a guy my size. I kind of have to shift my body to look behind me. Of course, you want to do head checks anyway, but it'd be nice to have a little bit more usable mirrors for bigger people. But again, I'm 6'1", and probably not the size. And I'm totally comfortable on this bike. And my legs are a little bit folded up, but in a kind of comfortable position. It's not too much. And the handlebars are upright, so not a lot of pressure on your hands. Kind of like a bicycle or upright standard bike, naked bike. So it's very comfortable. I mean, I've gone on for 2-hour rides on this, and I'm not even really stiff when I get off. Just this, I would say the only problem is the seat. Like most entry-level bikes, the seat's going to be hard as a rock. And it's really not that bad, but just if you sit there like that for an hour, you kind of got to move around a little bit at stop signs and or red lights. Maybe get up. I get up on my feet once in a while. That helps out a lot. But really, nothing a deal breaker. You got a little bit of storage in the tail section here. And this bike is 100% stock, besides the rear tire, and that's not. I think it's a tire they put on KTM 390s, so it's a good tire. I could be wrong about that. It's a German Continental. Anyhow, yeah, Kawasaki, great. My first motorcycle, and it's plenty fast enough. Unless you've ridden a lot before, it's probably going to be fast enough for most beginners. I think it was 0 to 60 in 4.3 seconds. I don't think I can get it going that quick because of my size and skill level. But I would say definitely under 5 seconds, even with me on it and not being very good. And I've had it for about a year. So it's plenty fast. You're going to be able to pass anybody you want pretty much on the streets if you have to. It's got a lot of passing power, up to freeway speeds. It's very flickable, very light. It kind of hums along. It's not so it's pretty comfortable on a road trip. It's not real loud, so it doesn't bother your ears. I also wear earplugs, which can help. And this color is pretty cool. It's sort of a teal. I think they call it pearl nightshade teal. And then it's a sort of matte black, the rest of it. So yeah, it's really nice. But yeah, I'd recommend this bike for anybody, especially if you're not real sure what you want to get. Yeah, I didn't know when I started if I was going to get a dual sport or a super sport or definitely not a super sport. I knew that, but I was knowing a dual sport, cruiser, naked bike, or a Ninja 400. And this is almost identical to the Ninja 400. I would have gotten that too if that was the only one available, because it was pretty comfortable. Well, not a huge difference. The handlebar is probably the biggest thing that you'd notice. Other than that, I think the shocks are adjusted on this thing for a little bit softer. I could be wrong about that, but it may not be quite as good around a track. But other than that, it's got 3.7 gallon tanks, so you can go about 200 miles between, at least. So 60 miles a gallon. Like 220 mile range, something along those lines. But it can be a little bit tough to fill it up, so it's on an angle, so you got to be it's a little dicey to try to get all 3.7 gallons into the tank without spilling something. So I usually fill it up to like 3.5 gallons, 3.25 gallons. But it's not a big deal. Fill up takes like 2 minutes because it's so small, and it costs like $10 most of the time. But yeah, so if I would remember, this one, Ninja 400, the R3, MT-03, very similar. They're a little less powerful, those bikes. I've never ridden one, but Yamaha's great brand, and they got to be pretty good. Also the KTM 390, RC 390, Ninja 300 even. That's probably a really good one. And even smaller, that Suzuki 250 or the old Ninja 250. If you just want to learn how to ride, I don't think it really matters. Even the 125s. Just get the basics down without scaring the hell out of yourself. So I've had this for a year, and I think I'll probably keep it. And then maybe a year from now, maybe I'll get like a 650 or something like that. Not a super sport, but one of those like SV 650s, or maybe a little bigger than that, 800 or Tiger. But I like Kawasaki a lot. I think you get a lot of value. They're well made. I mean, it starts every single time. I never had to press the button more than once. I think at one time I did the whole time I've owned it. I've ridden in the rain, deep, monsoon storms, little dirt roads here and there, and the thing is incredible. And it's cheaper than a lot of mountain bikes, but they don't have engines on them. So you get these brand new for $5K, maybe $35,000, $4,000 used, and I think they're almost giving them away for all the technology. ABS, you got good suspension, great engine. There's nothing really to complain about, except size. I mean, yeah, something bigger for touring maybe. So I'm sure you could put bags on this, but I would say, I think I eventually want something bigger with luggage, and more power and protection on the freeway. So something a little bit bigger probably. So you go 80 comfortably with no wind blasting you. That might be nice. But as far as a country road bike, 65 and under, this thing is totally fine. 70 and under. I mean, somehow the wind doesn't really blast you too bad. I don't know how they did that, but it's not as bad as you would think. That's it.